Ciao.
That's sponsored by Remote HQ. Collaborate like you're in the same room. Go to remotehq.co/minutes for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the code MINUTES for 3 months free. That's Remote HQ. Infinity and beyond.
All the way beyond.
All the way beyond. All the way beyond. Well, then you just end up back here. Jeff Gamet's here with us, everybody. Jeff Gamet, longtime Apple News guy and longtime friend of mine and friend of this show. Of course, you've heard him here and other things that I've done over the years. So this is actually born of, first of all, I don't know if you know this, and I'm not bragging, but macOS Ken turned 15 years old a couple of weeks ago. And, being as on top of things as I am, it is only now that I'm thinking, hey, I should do some It's Been 15 Years programming. So, That
makes sense. And first off, you should brag. Congratulations. And because I know you so well, I totally get why you're like, I shouldn't brag.
Yeah, well,
so I'll do it for you. Everyone, Ken has been doing this for 15 years, and holy crap, he is the best.
Well, see, I was going to say one of the reasons I don't brag about it is because frequent guests on this show, like Adam Christensen and Allison Sheridan, have actually had shows longer than mine. Well, not longer than mine. Almost every show Adam does is, in fact, longer than mine, but he's also been doing his show longer than I have. So here's where I landed, and this was sort of born of the live thing that I'm doing on YouTube, because that tends to be where I just kind of act goofy a little bit. Last Friday, got up and Snoopy had taken over the Apple homepage. And what I said to people on macOS Ken Live was, I think, when we saw that, when we saw the Snoopy show on Apple TV Plus, when we saw that it had taken over the whole thing, and that you can actually, saying the words that Apple had premiered the new series, The Snoopy Show on Apple TV Plus, I think back in 2006, we all knew this was exactly where things were headed. Which, of course, is completely insane. I mean, there's no part of you would have said, oh, yeah, they're totally going to have a Peanuts, thing. Take all the Peanuts series and put it on their own TV channel and all that stuff.
Yeah. And when you dropped that line, I had that split second where I'm like, wait a second. Reality has been so crazy over the last several years that... Am I misremembering? And we actually did think that? No, we didn't.
Nothing like it. No, absolutely not.
Not at all.
See, because here's what I did on macOS Ken Live last week, and then people who heard Mondays in a few minutes heard this part again because, I was setting up the week. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You could have maybe made the case that Apple might eventually get into making its own video stuff because it had the video iPod out, but otherwise there was no through line. There was no straight way through. And then what I did for the rest of both that show last week and the show yesterday was started talking about what Apple has done that you can look back and say, yes, I saw that coming. No, I didn't see that coming, but that totally seems natural. And then finally something along the lines of where the heck did that come from? So I have put no parameters on you. There is no geofencing. There is nothing. I've got 3 questions for you. What has Apple done that's wowed you in the last 15 years? What has Apple done that has surprised you? And then, flight of fancy kind of stuff, 15 years from now, you can make it outlandish. You can make it actually see this going that way. I'm curious about those 3 things, but let's start with just what in the last 15 years has wowed you?
Well, you'll either look at my answer and say, yeah, I see that, or, I didn't expect you to go that direction. Mm-hmm. Apple has reinvented itself twice in the last 15 years, like in significant ways. And the first was when they went from being a computer company that also had started making this really successful MP3 player mm-hmm. to a company that makes the one of the most incredibly successful communication devices on the planet. So reinvention number one was going into the iPhone era, and then reinvention number two was becoming a truly viable, strong, and successful services company. And part of that services does include the whole thing with original content and streaming television and to reinvent a company that big twice in that short of a window is to me just absolutely remarkable.
Let me ask you a question. Is it the invention of the iPhone that surprised you, or how central the iPhone came? Because when I was doing that list that I did, I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything makes perfect sense and that I saw it coming. But the iPhone was a thing that I did see coming. I wrote about a converged device at one point, and I got not hate mail, but people saying, well, that's ridiculous. And then I also made a joke video about where is my iPhone about 7 months before they announced the iPhone. I personally saw the iPhone coming. I don't know that I would have thought, and, everything is going to hinge on that one device, Mac not included, of course. Is the surprise that they did a phone, or is the surprise how important the phone became?
It's how important it became.
Okay.
I'm with you. We could see, at least those of us maybe in the echo chamber, we could see that something like the iPhone was going to happen. And by the time the iPhone came out, I was already talking about how I could see Apple making a device that gave us true computing portability and access to all of our important stuff anywhere we are. And so in my mind, I was thinking iPhone stuff. It wasn't the iPhone itself yet. So yeah, it's what it became, not the fact that the phone itself happened.
Now, forgive me, because I think I just conflated the two questions that I asked you. One was what has wowed you, which was the first question I asked, and the second was what surprised you. But then I was asking you, wow, so you're surprised by the iPhone. I might have messed you up there. I'm sorry. Was that your surprise answer or your wow answer? Okay.
No, we're good. I am so rolling with this, and don't worry, I have more answers for you.
Well, no, good, because I actually want to know the surprise answer as well. I don't want to put you in the thing of you were surprised by the iPhone, because that's not what you said. What's your surprise answer? What's been the most surprising thing in the past? Well, I don't want to say most surprising, but what's been a surprising thing in the last 15 years?
Apple's strong position in the health and fitness space.
Really? Tell me more.
When Apple really took us mobile, where they put mobile in our pocket with the iPhone, there was a lot of other things that could start happening with our technology and the way we track things, because now we have this always with us technology. But when Apple did the whole thing where once they figured out what the Apple Watch was really going to be, because they dumped it on us and it was like, here's this cool thing. Tell us what it is and how you're going to use it, and then we'll roll with that. and they did. And they set up the whole health kit thing where we can have unified access to health records and personal health data, and the whole thing with doctors being able to get health data from us more reliably and basically in real time, and then really pushing into our personal fitness. And taking a strong position in just improving the overall health and personal, I want to say welfare, but that's not exactly the right word.
Wellness.
Well, thank you. Wellness of their customers, and it's just been fascinating to see that growth in that whole space with different technologies and services that Apple is offering. And we're still seeing it today with the I just forgot the name of it, Fitness Plus launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
Apple's not slowing down in this space. This isn't another area where Apple jumps in, runs with it for a little bit, and then does the squirrel thing and is off, and that's dead, and they're doing something else. It looks to me like Apple is seriously committed to this space.
Jeff and I are jumping 15 years into the future in a moment, but first a word from Remote HQ, letting you collaborate as if you were in the same room, which is kind of futuristic. Here is what Remote HQ gives you. Note-taking, a whiteboard, access to apps you're already using like Miro and Dropbox and Google Docs and others. All that's great, but you've got all that stuff. Here's the future part. What Remote HQ really gives you is a place to work together. You can set apps so that you're the only person who controls them, but the real trick is leaving them open, so your teammates can add notes, so they can take you to a website they want you to see, so they can add to the stuff that you've put on the whiteboard as if you're in the same room. All of this with no downloads, no installations. Meeting participants don't even have to sign up for anything. They just click on the link you send, like you pulled them into a meeting, not like you had to go get them a badge. Go to remotehq.co/minutes to try it out for yourself. Then when you're ready to launch, use the code MINUTES for 3 months free. You and your team should give Remote HQ a try. Go to remotehq.co/minutes for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the code MINUTES for 3 months free. Now, let's see what Jeff Gamet would like to see in the future. All right, so let's move ahead now. And this is kind of unfair because I joked at the beginning, nobody saw the TV thing coming. I mean, I think the first time I discussed the possibility of a TV thing was with Chuck Joyner back in 2014 or 15, whenever they bought Beats but had not launched Apple Music. So I guess 2014. At that point, I want to say Chuck said, well, I'm hearing talk that they're eventually going to start making their own video content. What do you guys think of that? And I don't think any of us said, well, that makes perfect sense. I mean, my answer was, sure, why not? I mean, I'm happy to see them do it, but, there was no like, oh yeah, my money's definitely on that. So understanding that it would be folly to say, here is where Apple is going in 15 years. I am instead going to say, hey, what would be a fun thing? What's a thing that nobody's thought of, or what's a thing you would like to see them do? Not a, here's what's going to happen. Take a flight of fancy, Jeff Gamet. What does 15 years bring?
15 years, I hope, brings us more humanity into the technology. And here's where I'm going with this. Right now, we have all of this technology that we have available to us every single day. We have laptops, and we have Apple TVs, and we have smartwatches and smartphones, and there's all this technology, and we can use the technology, at least some of the technology, in ways that benefit us and improve our lives. But we still haven't reached a place where at least I feel comfortable saying we have all this technology and it's really enhancing who we are and has become a part of us in a way that truly makes us better people. And by extension is something that we are so comfortable using that it doesn't feel like there's the tech people and the muggles. And I would love to see Apple take that on and find the way that using all of this really enhances who we are in a profound way and becomes something where you don't have to sit down with a friend or a family member who knows more than you to figure out how to use the new thing. it just fits in so well into our lives that it just makes sense. And so, yeah, I see that as a continuation of what Apple's doing with health and fitness, and then finding other ways to really enhance our lives. I don't know exactly what that is yet. I mean, is that like, does Apple need to get into personal robotics and they can make companions and assistants? And and if you're someone that needs some sort of assistance in your life all the time, then maybe you can have your little AI robot that helps with that. Or maybe it's like, actually, it fits really well with where we are right now, or at least have. Well, no, I guess we still are. We still have to deal with a lot of isolation. Maybe that's something that they can address and find healthy and productive ways to let technology help us overcome a sense of isolation, loneliness, and feel like we're part of a community, even when we are in a position where we're just like alone in a house or an apartment.
I'll tell you what idea I like for that. And it's interesting because when you were talking about that, it suddenly makes me understand why I care about 5G and why I want it to come as quickly as possible. Like real availability and real coverage, almost down to the millimeter wave, is the whole AR thing. Like if and that does not help you with somebody who actually needs physical help, but if you're sitting in your place, in front of a, camera or LiDAR sensor or whatever, and I'm sitting in my place in front of one, then I can just put you over there on the couch and you and I can sit there and watch a movie, right? And when I look over, hey, there's Jeff, and we're talking a little bit, and then I look back over and I'm still watching the movie. The movie's happening in my house. You're obviously not, because you're in Colorado or wherever you are, and I'm, wherever I happen to be living that year. But I mean, that's a fun idea. I mean, of course, you're talking about actually something, because you'll never be able to, hey, can you grab the other end of that? Well, no, because I'm 1,500 miles away and you're not.
Right. But still, the idea you just tossed out, I mean, that's really compelling. People that physically can't be in the same space, being able to simulate truly being in the same space together is really an interesting and exciting idea.
So here's what happened. Apple buys IKEA. And then we all buy the same sofa and love seat, so that when we have our friends over, it's like, well, no. Now you're sitting on the end table. Just stop it. Just
why do you always sit 3 inches above the couch?